Hey everybody, it's Joy from the Joy of Membership, and you are here for the Member Experience Advantage. And I am so glad that you decided to join me. Today, I want to take you back just a few years to when I was a teenager. So, I grew up in Central Illinois, as many of you might know, and one of the highlights of my year was the youth group skiing trip. Now, we obviously don't have a lot of mountains here in Central Illinois, but you go into Northern Illinois, there are some pretty significant hills. So, we did like hill skiing, not mountain skiing. So every year the youth group would do this. And this one particular year, I had finally graduated from like the little bunny slopes to the larger slopes where you actually had to ride a ski lift to get up to the top of the hill, and then you would ski down. Well, I had never been on a ski lift before, and it didn't seem like that big of a deal. I kind of watched how to do it and scooted myself into place when the ski lift was at the bottom of the hill, and it kind of comes up behind your rear end and scoops you up, and off you go, being carried up to the top of the hill. Well, as we get to the top where we're supposed to disembark, I start feeling this sense of panic because all of a sudden I realized that I don't know how to get off of this thing. Um, Clearly the ski lift was not going to stop. It's not like a Ferris wheel where it kind of spins around and it stops at the bottom and lets you off. The ski lift just keeps moving. So you have to disembark in exactly the right spot, and off you go. And I could see like other people are doing it, but I didn't know how to do it. And I'm feeling the sense of dread because I'm like, do I put my feet at the right level? Do I go left? Do I go right? Like, what is this person sitting next to me on the bench going to do? And as we get closer, I'm like frozen in panic. And I literally made no decision. So I didn't do anything. I didn't lean forward. I didn't get off. I just stayed on the ski lift, and it spins around, and it's supposed to start going back down the hill, and I'm still on the ski lift. So of course the ski lift, it's going to go down just as steeply as it came up, and I'm freaking out. Well, fortunately, the ski place has safety precautions that I'm sure I'm not the first person who ever did it, but they were able to stop the ski lift and help me get off. And I, of course, was completely humiliated. I'm a young teenager. Everybody, you feel like everybody's kind of staring at you. And I was just like horrified and in tears and just, having this incredibly emotional moment. Now, in retrospect, kind of looking back at the situation, any decision that I could have made in that moment, go left, go right, go straight, whatever, just go get into movement, would have been better than just sitting there and making no decision at all. Because I ended up putting myself in a pretty precarious position on this ski lift heading steeply back down the hill. So I was thinking about this story. It came to mind because, one of the things I'm noticing during this COVID-19 pandemic period is that even organizations sometimes get themselves into a state of panic when they don't know which direction to go. And there's sort of a feeling of being frozen and just needing to sit in place and wait and see what happens all around us. And the problem with doing this is that Waiting means that you stay in the same place while the rest of the world around you moves. And I think it's very clear that when we get through this period, the world will have changed. The way we do meetings will change. The way we serve members will change. And if your organization is sitting there just waiting to do something, all of the other organizations around you are going to be ahead of you, and you are going to be feeling like you've fallen behind the times and you have to catch up. So my recommendation to you is, as you look at what your organization needs to be doing, just be sure that you're not stuck in kind of the paralysis of not knowing what to do, because even taking small steps forward in a direction will keep you from being completely frozen in place and falling behind. And if you are at least in some sense of motion, you can make little corrective action if you find that you've kind of taken off at a slightly incorrect angle. It's much easier to make kind of small corrective actions than it is to be rescued off of a ski lift. So, that year, to circle back to my story, I certainly was not brave enough to get back on that ski lift. I had learned my lesson, and there was no way that I was going to do that again, at least not that year. The next year, I had kind of overcome the trauma of it all and was able to get back on the ski lift and finally conquered it and learned what I needed to do. And I was able to get off and on the ski lift without incident. Of course, that next year was when my cousin Mike broke his leg. So the moral of the story might be that little kids from Central Illinois probably don't belong out there skiing. At least not if you're uncoordinated like myself and my cousin. But anyway, it was always a lot of fun. It was a great experience to have as a teenager. And I hope that the relevance of that lesson to the real world situation that we are all going through right now is somehow helpful to you. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Take care.